in today's session of Divorce Court. Suzanne McGee says after she had a hysterectomy, her husband let her know he had a new girlfriend.
I confronted her to tell her that he was a married man. I just got out of the hospital to leave him alone. I found new photos, X-rated photos, of them two in the truck. I can tell you something about her body that I should not even know. He has clothed her, fed her, sheltered her, and supported her more than me.
I was having a friendship, strictly a friendship.
You know what? I smell a rat.
Today, it's the case of Suzanne McGee versus Robert McGee in this session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Suzanne McGee versus Robert McGee. Now, I'm advised, Mrs. McGee, that after 13.5 years of marriage, you're ready to end it.
Yes, I am.
Why?
3 years ago, I had to have a hysterectomy, plus I had some other complications and had another surgery. There was a phone call received at our home from a young girl, Robert's girlfriend, and that made me want to end it right then and there. I had...
3 years ago?
Yes, I had 13 staples in my stomach, and I got in my car and went driving to look for him, and he was with her.
Wait a minute, you got a phone call from a young lady?
Yes.
A girl, you said?
19-year-old girl.
Your Honor, can I interrupt
wait a
at
minute,
this
so
particular
that was
moment?
3 years ago?
Yes.
So that means she was 16?
No, she was 19 then. She's 22 now.
all right.
Yeah, she's 22 now.
You got a call at home after a major surgery?
Yes. My sister brought me home. Then he got there, and there was this call. He got the call from her. He left. I chased after him in my car like some crazy woman, and I went back home and listened to the message, and I went to where they were. I confronted her to tell her that he was a married man. I just got out of the hospital to leave him alone. She tells me, and he tells me they're just friends. And that is not true. That was not true.
So that's when you found out that he was having an affair with her?
Yes.
All right, now, Mr. McGee, what you have to say?
Well, Your Honor, what she's saying is untrue. The statement she made about Rhonda has no bearing on this.
Did you get a phone call from somebody?
Yes, Your Honor, I certainly did.
And what did you do?
I went to see this particular friend of mine.
Okay, now why did you have to go see that person and leave your sick wife? Now you're home.
Yes, Your
You're
Honor.
not at work. The truck is parked. Why did you have to get back in?
I didn't get back in my truck. I got in my personal vehicle, and I went up to see her.
You
Why?
got in your truck because I
Who
called
is
you
this
two in the truck.
The person that you're going to see and rescue that's in trouble more than your wife?
She was a friend of mine.
If she was a friend, if she was a friend, why was there
Your Honor,
new photos in your
this
truck
friend
of
of
you
mine
and her?
was
Why
being-
was there
Miss
new
McGee,
photos?
I know you're upset.
Listen to me for a second. Just talk to the judge. She'll give you a chance to answer everything. All right? Okay.
He's going to explain this.
Your Honor, this friend of mine, the message she had put on, she didn't tell you the whole message. The message was something about someone was trying to rape her.
And who are you?
She was my friend.
The police?
No, ma'am, I'm not the police, but this is my friend. I'm
And
trying
this
to
is
go.
your wife.
I understand, Your Honor. I was trying to help my friend, and I know my wife needed me there. I was there. I wasn't planning on leaving to go with this
Well,
friend
just
of
tell
mine.
me what you did when your friend called and leave a message that somebody's trying to rape her, and how far is she away from the house when she leaves a message that somebody's trying to rape her?
She was 2 miles away from the house.
And she had an opportunity to call you and say somebody's trying to rape me. And how long did that call come in before you received it?
I don't know. I received it maybe an hour later because
So by then, what could you do?
there was nothing I could do.
My point exactly.
Absolutely, Your Honor. At that particular time, I did not think that way. What you're saying right now is today.
That's why I'm telling you that I don't accept your explanation.
I understand that. I understand that. I can see how you would.
You can see why I don't believe
yes,
that, huh?
I certainly can see how you wouldn't.
So then what happened when you go rescue the friend that's being raped?
My
Allegedly.
wife got into a car. She chased me up to the truck stop. That's where she was.
Oh, what's happening at the truck stop?
Your Honor, that's what happened.
Is this the young lady that
Yes.
you went to rescue?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
And now she's become your
They live together.
other mate?
They live together.
Yes. This did not happen today.
They live together.
We know it didn't happen today.
It did not. It happened over a course of 7 or 8 months before we even attempted to have any type of relationship other than friendship.
Is that why I found the nude
Other
photos
than
in your truck?
friendship.
The
what?
nude photos in your truck?
You
What
found
about
the nude photos in the truck?
I can tell you something about her body that I should not even know. I found nude photos, X-rated photos of them two in the truck taking pictures of each
Absolutely.
other. And there was a stack this thick. Oh, this ain't none of your concern.
She don't want to tell you about things.
Yes, it is.
After
Oh, no, it isn't.
No. I won't have it. Now, the two of you will not do that.
I am very sorry. I'm
All
just
right.
very, very angry.
Okay, so don't look at her because it causes you too much grief and pain. Just focus on Joe. He's a nice-looking man.
Okay.
All right? Keep your eyes over there.
Okay.
While I'm talking to this witness. Come forward. What's your name?
Rhonda,
Rhonda what?
Fabian.
All right, Miss Fabian, what do you have to say from your seat that you can now say?
The point that she's referring to where she found the nude pictures was a year after, and they weren't
year
living
after
together.
what?
After Robert and I had met.
Well,
And
he's still married, so when did you meet him?
in 97, about the end of 97. This was almost towards the end of 98.
Well, you had to have met him while he was still married to her because remember he came to your rescue.
I mean, yes, ma'am, I did, but we weren't in a relationship at that time.
So of all the people you know, you tell me the story. Let me see.
I was in a state where I wasn't from. I was just passing through. I had been on the road with my current boyfriend at the time, and things had went sour, and he tried to help me get back to where I lived at.
So now you're in his state.
Right.
Mr. McGee's state.
Right.
With or without your boyfriend?
I was with, except at that time he had kicked me out.
Kicked you out of what?
He had tried to rape me. We was traveling together. We had to deliver there the next morning, and he had tried to rape me, and I couldn't get loose, and I had broke free, and
You were in the truck with him riding?
Right.
And then the boyfriend tried to rape you?
Right, because I didn't want to have sexual intercourse at that time.
Why didn't you call emergency 911? I think that's
Well,
the universal emergency number
In this
911.
country. It is in this country.
I thought emergency numbers were 3 digits, not 7.
I had, Your Honor. I had went inside, and the clerk at the truck stop that we had been at had actually dialed it for me, and they asked me if I knew anybody in this town, relation or no relation, and I said Mr. McGee.
They wouldn't dial 911 for you?
They did. That's what I was trying to tell you.
So when you dialed the police, they said, you know anybody?
No, after I had been to the hospital, and they had asked me, they wanted to know who
Okay, now
they could contact.
you've added another factor to it. You said after you had gone to the hospital. So you called Mr. McGee after the emergency people came, the police responded to you, and after you had gone to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were at the hospital when he met you?
No, when I called.
Ms. McGee said you all met at the truck stop. Mr. McGee said you were at the truck stop. You
Well,
said I was in the hospital.
I had to go back to the truck stop in order to meet him.
And
No, you didn't. Why you couldn't stay at the hospital?
I don't know.
Oh, your stories are getting real preposterous. Real preposterous, honey. You all really think you just pulling the wool over me. Come on, finish it. Go on, tell me some more. Tell me some
Anyway,
more.
the photos that she's referring to was a year afterwards, and he was living in his truck at the time. They weren't living together.
How do you know?
And so you broke up with your other boyfriend right then and there, and Mr. McGee became your savior, right?
No, he didn't. We just remained friends.
Your Honor, I remained friends with her. That's the only thing. I did not have any other relationship outside of a friendship relationship.
Mr. McGee.
I loved my wife.
Mr.
I
McGee, let
came
me tell you
home.
something.
You don't love me.
Maybe that was what was intended. But it sounds to me, you know what? I smell a rat.
When divorce court returns, Robert's testimony turns the tables on Suzanne.
Excuse me?
What about me? What about me, Your Honor? I walk in my house, catch my wife in the bed with another man.
Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? Take your case to a new court show and be represented by a prominent attorney. Call 877-777-0099. Divorce court is back in the case of Suzanne McGee, who says her husband Robert left her for another woman after she had a hysterectomy.
Could I just say one more thing to him?
What?
If you loved me and wanted to be there for me, you would not have went to Rhonda. When I was working for the state and had a good job and you got ill, who lost their job to take care of you?
Your Honor,
Who lost their job?
Can I come in? Your Honor,
He had some health problems.
Hold on a second.
Yes, she was there for me. I was also there for her. Your Honor, she's trying to make me out to be the person that I didn't care for her She's trying to make this be all on this particular person.
Well, I think it was more to it than this.
Your Honor, the reason we are at this particular point, I feel today, is because she changed as a person.
What do you mean by that?
She changed as a person.
After the hysterectomy,
when I,
what do you mean by that?
My job only allowed me to come home at that particular time 2 or 3 times out of the month, 2 or 3 days out of the month. So when I came home, I tried to be with my wife. I tried to be the loving, caring person that I was to her.
And what happened after the hysterectomy?
She sort of put me in a box. She pushed me away. She went through a whole different type of a change when she had that hysterectomy.
So let me hear that. Ms. McGee, do you think or do you believe? I understand. I haven't had, and I don't know.
I was worried a lot. I was scared a lot. You know, I was depressed. Yes, I was. But I don't think that's reason enough. I don't think that's reason enough to leave your wife for a 19-year-old girl.
Did you seek any help for that?
Yes, I did. I went to counseling. I did get some counseling.
So did your husband start to not support you financially as well as physically?
Well, he did. I'm not going to lie about it because he has helped me a lot. He has helped me a lot. He has helped me when I've needed help.
Your Honor,
yes, in a minute.
But for the last 3 years, he has clothed her, fed her, sheltered her, and supported her more.
You've been separated for 3 years?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
And you haven't received any support from Mr. McGee?
Not a monthly support, nothing.
Are you working?
I just started working. I live in a different state right now, and I am working.
And you've gone through that phase of the depression and all?
Yes, but can I say one other thing?
Hold on, let me finish asking my questions, please.
I just want to let you know something else, though. When we were going through this thing and this girl got in between our lives, I decided I was going to start seeing somebody, and I started dating.
Oh.
He told me, he said, if you quit, if I quit seeing the guy, he said, if you quit seeing this guy, I'll quit seeing Rhonda, and we'll try to get our relationship back together.
So what happened?
It didn't work out because when I got in his truck is when I found the pictures of her and him, them new pictures. It was like
a year later.
It was not a year.
Ms. Carter, don't say anything else. You're not talking now. Mr. McGee, so what about that?
She had an affair on me, Your Honor. She had an affair.
How did I have an affair on you?
I come home off the road.
What do you mean she had an affair on you?
Yes, she did.
How did I have an affair on you?
Mr. McGee, I told you to look at Joe.
Your Honor, during this time, I was having a friendship, and it's strictly a friendship with Miss Fabian. I came home off the road to find another man in my bed in my house. We are still married. I am not holding any type of relationship other than a friendship with Miss Fabian. I come home, I walk in my house, catch my wife in the bed with another man.
Now, you came home unexpectedly?
I came home unexpectedly.
I talked to you on the phone.
What is unexpectedly? That's my house. I'm able to be there whenever I want to.
Well, you said you don't get there all the time. That's what I mean.
Okay, when I got home, I walk in the door, or I try to walk in the door, so to speak. I try to get my garage door up. Well, my garage door doesn't come up.
She's changed the locks?
No, ma'am. She stuck something in the door, so that allows me. I guess that's some sort of an early warning system.
He walked right in, and we were not.
No, Your Honor, that's untrue.
Wait a minute, Mr. McGee. You said something inconsistent because you said you walked in and you saw her in the bed with another man.
Yeah.
So
yes, after I got my garage door jimmied up, then I was able to go in my house. I walked in the house. I walked in, I automatically, I see another car in the driveway, so I don't know who it is. It could be someone just visiting.
Right.
So I don't want to assume anything. I walk in the house, there's no lights on, there's nothing. So immediately, I go to my bedroom. I go to my bedroom door, who do I see? My wife. Well, sure, she's supposed to be there. The person that was in the bed with her shouldn't have been there.
So you had another man
she's got another man in my bed, at my house. We were still married at that particular time.
But
I was still supporting her.
Miss McGee, you had another man inside the house?
I was still supporting her financially.
I had a man sitting inside my living room when he walked in the house.
Your Honor, come on.
No, that is true.
Your Honor, that is not true. That is not true.
All right, stop. Neither one of you have kept your vows. I don't care what you were doing. It doesn't justify having a relationship. And what he was doing, it didn't justify you going somewhere else. If the two of you are adults enough to decide, I don't want to be with the other person, then get a divorce and leave it alone. Stop playing games. That's how people get killed. It's not right. And I'm not suggesting that it should. But what the two of you are doing is playing with fire. And that's what causes domestic violence.
I moved to a different state. I even went and bought a divorce kit.
What do you want from me?
I want him to help me get started over again.
What do you mean help you get started over? You told me you're in another state.
I am. I'm staying with a friend right now, and I need his help so I can get started.
What do you mean by need his help to get started?
So I can
just tell me, let her tell me what she needs.
I feel as if he can feed and clothe her and pay for her shelter, then he could help me.
How have you been paying for yourself the last 3 years?
I've worked off and on.
And are you working now?
I just started working.
Excuse me.
What about me? What about me, Your Honor? You know how she's been taking care of herself for the past 3 years?
One other thing.
She's been taking care of herself.
How have you paid for your living and supported yourself the last 3 years?
I have been trying to work. I have tried to work as much as I can.
And did your husband give you any money the last 3 years?
He has helped me. Yes, he has in the past helped me. Yes, you have.
So now you're saying that you moved to another state?
Yes, and I'm trying to start over.
And what do you want to start over?
I would like for him to give me $600 so I can pay for the first month's rent and the deposit.
Mr. McGee?
I don't feel as though I should give her $600 because we're separated at this particular moment. We're separated. We've been separated for the past 3 years. I've helped her all alone in this particular time. So why now should I be ordered to pay her $600 for her to start a new life, so to speak, when she's already had a new life? And as far as anything else goes, I have lived in a truck for 2 years to make sure that she had somewhere to stay.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict. And an update on the case of Lynn Morris versus Steve Morris.
It was nothing but a wallet, a cook, and a maid. When she was pregnant, she would not have sex with me the entire 9 months, and she thought it was a big joke.
Divorce court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce court is back in the case of Suzanne McGee, who says her husband Robert left her for a younger woman after she had a hysterectomy.
I'm finished. I hear what you're saying. But support is what we call in order to take care. Now, in a 13-year marriage, I believe that he should have supported you. But he said that he's been providing support for the last 3 years. And you, too, say that he's been giving you money and helping you out for the last 3 years. Now, in three years since you've been separated, if this was a recent separation, I could see giving me money to get an apartment. But 3 years you've been separated. And you were living with others. And though it may seem unfair, I don't think he should give you the money for an apartment per se. But now let's talk about the equality of the incomes. A 13-year marriage deserves some period of support. Now you can do this way. You can pay her every month for another few years. Or you can give her that $600 she asked for.
Your Honor, if that's what you feel is necessary, that's what I'll do.
No, ain't what I feel is necessary. It's what I'm going to order, and I'm giving you an option.
I'll take your option, Your Honor.
You're a wise man.
Yeah.
Pay her the $600.
All rise.
When divorce court returns, an update on the case of Lynn Morris versus Steve Morris.
So you start dating someone else while you're still living with your wife?
When you'd rather kiss the pet dog than kiss her.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? To appear before a real judge on a new court show, call 877-777-0099. And now for an update on a previous case in divorce court. Steve Morris said he wanted to divorce his wife Lynn because she treated him like a servant.
I was nothing but a wallet, a cook, and a maid.
Well, the court paper said you withhold sex from him.
When she was pregnant, she would not have sex with me the entire 9 months, and she thought it was a big joke.
So for 25 years, you all have been living like this?
Yeah, it's been awful.
But Lynn said Steve walked out on her for another woman.
Your Honor, I was disabled at the time, and he chose to leave 2 months after I had a stroke. And he walked off in the sunset with his girlfriend.
So you start dating someone else while you're still living with your wife?
When you'd rather kiss the pet dog than kiss her.
Why are you crying, Mrs. Morris?
Because I'm so tired of listening to him yell.
Steve wanted Lynn to pay him over $2,000 for a checking account overdraft. Lynn wanted Steve to give her back the $10,000 she had put down in their home. The judge ordered each to pay back their debt to the other. Lynn says her faith in men is destroyed and she is too afraid of being hurt to get into another relationship. Their daughter Sarah is now married and says she is determined to avoid the mistakes her parents made. Steve is living with his girlfriend Paula, but says he is so scarred from living with Lynn that he doesn't think he'll ever walk down the aisle again.
I would tell Robert to wake up and really realize what he's done wrong.
You know, she's angry, so naturally she wouldn't make me out to be the best person.
I'm not in love with Robert, but I do care about him.
Suzanne, my wife, she's decided to move on with her life, and I moved on with mine. But I had moved on with mine before we got here, so that's the way I feel.
I believe Robert went after the first thing that came along.